What is up? What is up, guys? Welcome to another Monday Night R3Cast with myself tonight, host instead of these two yahoos. But I have my buddy right next to me. Oh, this way. My buddy Ravenhawk Coins is with us tonight, and down below where he belongs is the man himself, Rob Von Treasure.
What's going on?
What's up? Hey guys, you know how this works. We love to get together and do this, every other week. We did miss last week, so we're here this week, and we rotate the channels. And what we do is we like to get together for an hour, take questions from you guys, just chat about coins, gold, silver, whatever you want to bring up, and that's what we're talking about today as well. So I will go through. I will do my absolute best to catch as many comments as possible. If you happen to have posted a comment that you think I missed, feel free to repost it, but wait 5 minutes or so that we don't kind of get overloaded. And with that all said, welcome. Let's start off with Ravenhawk Coins. What's going on tonight, man?
Hey, just a very nice night to be here with both of you and hang out like we always do. We're having a good time cutting up the rug, so to speak, talking before the show. And, I'm looking forward to Grove. Get to finally hang out in person and meet a lot of people. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think tonight, like all of our other nights doing this, will just go by that quick and be that much funner.
Absolutely. And how about you, Rob? What's going on, Mr. Coin Collector shirt?
Oh, you like my coin collector shirt?
I do.
It's funny. I don't know how good my internet's going to be tonight. I don't know if Raven's getting a piece of this crazy thunderstorm, but we just had quarter-size hail. The roof sounded like it was getting pounded, so you know what that means. In the next 2 days, I got to have an inspector out to look at my roof. And it was just a quick storm, but in the next hour, and it's black outside, it's supposed to get really bad between 8 and 11 with tornado warning. So hopefully everything goes good tonight. Worst case is I'll be underneath my bed crying.
Fortunately for us, it's getting windy out and it's supposed to rain a little bit tonight, but we've had a couple beautiful days. So yeah, it's been nice. And I do want to start off. I just saw one from CGen, and I just heard about this. This was announced today. I don't know if you guys heard this, but the U.S. Mint is pausing production of the 2022 Peace and Morganellas. Did you guys hear about that?
Yeah, I just read it before the show.
I don't know specific. I don't know why, but I did hear some rumblings of that.
Yeah, I haven't heard why as well. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to read the announcement myself because I was getting ready for this. But from what I understand, they will be recontinuing in 2023.
It's a supply chain issue with the blanks.
Gotcha.
To make it a long story short.
Fair enough.
Wow.
Thank you for reading that.
Yeah, no problem. Interesting.
Good to see you, Del Sol. What is going on? Oh man, Seeker RFT Bo says age 87. All right. So getting into the questions, guys, and we'll do our best to answer them, like I said. So again, if we miss one, it's not on purpose. We apologize. And then feel free to ask directly one of us if you want to ask something specifically to Rob. Feel free to do so, and same for Raven or myself. Daniel Aldridge says, I am new to stacking, have not made my first purchase, and saw something called Investor Crate. They send silver each month. Is this worth looking into, or should I skip? Thanks. I will answer this one because I actually specifically offer that exact same kind of program on my website. And the truth about programs like that, and this includes mine, is that if you like getting something that feels like a gift, like you don't know what you're going to get and you're really excited to get into it and see what's in there every month, it's like opening a present. They're great. They're a lot of fun. You do pay a little bit higher of a premium on things like that. It's not much, but it is a little bit more than if you just went out and bought them yourself. And additionally, when you go out and buy silver yourself, you get to pick and choose the pieces you want instead of just getting sent random stuff. So it is something to consider. They are a lot of fun. I actually started doing them myself because I got one and enjoyed it. And so I'm like, man, I know I could do this. And so I do have a lot of people that subscribe to that and get boxes from me every month. And it's a lot of fun to put them together as well. But from a just pure value perspective and just from a pure, you get to go out and choose what you're going to get each month. It's really better for you to do it yourself. But at least this way, you don't have to worry about it. The charge comes, you get the silver. The charge comes, you get the silver. You don't have to do anything. It just arrives. So it depends on why you want to do it, I guess. Guys, we will do our best to do super chats. I know last time I was the host. Oh, we lost Raven. Sorry. I know last time I was the host that I missed a couple of super chats because I was trying to stay all the way up in the chat, but I will do my best to get to them. Guys, Big Bill says, sunny here in California. What is up? Big Mill with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that.
Isn't it always sunny there in California? I mean, seriously. We had another super chat as well, Seeker.
All right. Well, real quick before we get to it, though. Oh, gosh. Ringen said the same thing. I was going to say, Raven and you, I have never in my life even been to California, but both you and Raven have lived there at one point in your lives. So you guys can speak to it.
Almost 37 years.
Never even been. The farthest out west I've ever been is Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I still, I miss living there. I like the state. I don't really have anything bad to say about it, but it is definitely the Sunshine State.
Gotcha. Here's Scrubby says, I was recently cleaning out my aunt's house and found some very old coins. How do I know what coins are rare and worth money? Scrubby, that unfortunately, there's no way we could just sit here and tell you all the coins that are worth money. There are some websites that can help you. The best thing I would tell you though is just go get a red book. That's going to be your best. That's going to be your best ride in. Rob, do you have anything for that?
I mean, it's very tricky to answer it quickly, but in a nutshell, when you say you got some very old coins, first thing you need to do is see how they were stored, how they were separated, see if they're put into books, see if they're put into like a silver in one bag or something like that. You got to get them separated into investigatable bags of goodies. So I put my copper in one section, I'd have my silver in the other, maybe have my dollar coins, peace dollars, Morgans. Get it organized so that you have it all set up and you know what you got. And then, like Seeker said, a red book would be a good start for self-assessment. But you could also, if you really just want to just, play the game, you could take the whole collection, put it in a few shoe boxes, walk into an LCS and say, hey, I need your help. I got this. I'm not really looking to sell. It has sentimental reasons. I just want to get an idea roughly if I have anything valuable in this collection, and they could at least point out a few things to look for and get you set on your way. They may not sit there and go through everything for no fee, but at least they can say, yeah, these peace dollars and Morgan dollars, definitely want to take a look at those. This is your Leak and Penny album. Not a lot of value here, but there's some better dates. They can get you kind of set up so when you do get back home, self-investigation on a collection is a lot of fun. Even if you don't know everything about it, it's still fun, and you'll learn a lot through the investigative process about the coin so that you're more armed to find better things in the future.
Gotcha. Rob, Raven, do you have anything to add to that, bud?
You guys pretty much covered it,
Okay.
The only other resource you could look at like, eBay to kind of double check what you think, pricing would be there if you're trying to get rid of any of it. But Rob's suggestion was solid. Go to a local coin shop. Some coin dealers will look at it for free. Some of them will want to charge you. That's the one kind of bummer part. But at least if you're willing to spend, I think one of the guys I go to charges you like $30 or so for a quick evaluation. If you have some really nice old stuff, especially there's a lot of Morgan and peace dollars in there, it might be actually worth your while to spend that $30 to know exactly what you have.
There you go. Matt Poe says, Rob, you need to do a crossover with some other channel I've never heard of. Rob, Backyard Gardener.
That's ridiculous. Plant a money tree, really, Matt?
Money tree. That's awesome.
Question.
Put the money tree right next to Mount Stackmore.
Edward Lee says, question, what are your LCS selling junk for? Minus 25 face. That is pretty close to most places right now. It is sky high. I can't say exactly what other LCSs are selling for, but I know well over 22, 23, 24. That's very common right now. What about you guys?
Well, I get about 1 times face less than the average person when I walk in, only because of the volume that I have done for my streams and things like that. So I do get a better deal, but I have a limitation on how much I have to spend to get the deal. And I'll tell you, I talked to my silver dealer the other day, and he's sitting right around 23.5 to 24. He said it'd be in that range by the time I came in. So, and I'm getting a little better deal. So that being said, 25 sounds right about in line.
Right.
With me the other day, I was standing there buying some stuff at one of the shops that I deal with. I actually go to 3 or 4 different places, usually 3, but there's a 4th that I visit once in a while. Well, the one place I'm standing there, guy brings in a bunch of junk silver. They gave him 16 times face, turned around and sold most of it to a guy for 24 times. So, they're buying at 16, selling it at 24. That's a heck of a profit. Like, it was like almost instantaneous. And it was weird because I'm sitting there in the middle just kind of going, wait a second, 16 you bought and you sold it for 24. Wow.
to each shop their own. I get it that some shops need to make a higher margin, but I just don't think there's any justification for buying back of melt. And given that at 25 and a quarter, melt is just over 18. Like, I mean, they should, in my opinion, they should probably be paying more than that. But buying back of melt is almost insane. That's almost, I mean, it's not criminal. That's just business. But I mean, come on. Oh my gosh, that's brutal. I can't believe that.
Yeah. I've seen my LCS do about 20 times or 20% profit. So I've seen them actually buy stuff at 20 times face. It's sitting on the counter. Then it's my turn, and I'll ask how much they want for it all, and they'll say 24. And I get that because they had to.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously that 20% is pretty fair because it's literally sliding from one side of the counter back to me. But there are LCSs that sit on things and eat the cost and have to. Sometimes they like. I think Secret did the video with Mike that one time, and he was talking about how there's stuff in those vaults or stuff in those stores that have sat for years, and they've fronted all the costs. So we have to understand they got to make money, but I think 20% is fair profit. I think when you get bigger than that, 16 times selling for 24, that's making good. That's tough to see.
That's exactly 50%, by the way.
Yeah. And to be honest, it made me not want to shop there as much.
Right.
Just because I was like, wow, that's cheap that you bought it. And then you turn around, right? Not even hesitation, 24 times face. I was just like, whew. Dude, but, they have overhead. They have things to deal with. But Rob hit another thing. A lot of these guys have had some of that silver in their safes when they bought it for, $5, $6, $7 an ounce way back in time. Even the ones that bought it at, 10 times face for the longest time. I mean, it's just.
Well, so there's like a twofold thing to that, though. I mean, if you have silver you've been sitting on for $7, $8 an ounce, that's awesome. But at the same time, you'll also have shops that are sitting on silver for 40. But yeah. I think coming from the perspective of a dealer, the only time you really lose is if you go out of business. So like a perfect example is going to be like this. Let's say I'm a dealer and I bought $40. I bought a bunch of silver for $40 an ounce, and the market crashed Monday, and it's down to 30. So now I'm selling across the counter, let's say this premium's $3. I'm selling for 33 silver that I just bought for 40, right? But at the same time, I'm going to now, as soon as I sell that silver, I'm going to get on the phone and order more at $30 an ounce and pay whatever I pay. And so I'm still at the end of the day keeping the same silver and the profit difference. The only time you really lose is if you close and you decide to sell it all. So it's but I mean, I get that shops have overhead. I get they need to make money. I wouldn't like 18, but at least I would understand 18. That's melt. I get it. But paying back of melt in this market just doesn't seem right to me. But again, I'm not in their situation, so I can't say for sure what they're doing. I can tell you one story, and I'll tell you guys this. And if you want to talk about coin shops that are bad, because by the way, there are really, really good coin shops, and there are really, really bad ones.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about a coin shop. This is back in 11-12 that this old lady whose husband had passed away a couple of years prior walked in with like a whole jar full of clearly 90% silver. You could see it by the edges and everything. And she didn't know if it was worth anything. And she took up to the counter, and I swear they looked at her and said, "Oh, this is all just coins. We could count it up for you and give you the money so you don't have to carry it back if you want."
Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to hold my tongue on that. I'd have been like, "Ma'am, I'll pay you twice what they're going to pay you."
Yeah. You know what? And I have never spoken up in a shop and disrespected the shop owners.
Right.
But if I witnessed that, I think that I would have been like, "Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? That looks like 90% silver."
Yeah. And I was joking. I would have helped her.
Why don't you wait, ma'am, and let me go ahead and buy my stuff first, and then I want to see what they sell it to me for, so you have an idea of what I'm paying.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if I can
be quiet, but at the end of the day, I have always been quiet and not disrespectful in a shop. Yep. It's not my place of establishment. I can judge, but if I saw that, that'd be tough.
That's where I was, and I'm just going to be honest. I didn't speak up, and to this day it still bothers me. But
yeah,
and I've
been quiet in the bank when I saw people bringing stuff in, and I'm in line. What are you going to do? Hold on. I mean, it's tough to speak up when it's not your place.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing I want to clarify. No, I wouldn't have bought it for double. I would have said something along the lines of what Rob had said is like, "Hey, that's just not right."
Right.
But I've never done that in a coin shop. Like you heard me just say, I watched them buy it for 16, turn around, sell it to a person for 24. And I easily could have said, they just bought that at 16. But, that's just something that's one of those etiquette rules that you don't break,
Right.
because it is not your place of business and they're there to make a living. And we don't know the financial situation that any coin shop is in at any given time. They might really need to be selling it to make payroll and stuff at that moment,
it is. You're right, Raven. And 16 times face buying, like Seeker said, it's behind mill, which is bad, but it's not crookery compared to I'll count it up and not let you have to carry it out.
Right. That right there is just low.
It's beyond low, man. I just don't know how they sleep at night. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Silver Stacking Smith has this one for you, Rob. Have at it.
Hey, Rob finds treasure. How difficult was it for you to find the nickels from 71 to 04 with the S mint mark while you were hunting through box of nickels? Well, some of those years are not as difficult, obviously, but the modern proof nickels were almost extremely impossible. And I'll be flat out honest. I think I maybe have gotten 16 different years for those particular ones you're talking about. And I end up having to go to an LCS to fill in the S minted proof nickels for my album. That being said, the 1971 to 2004s, I think I filled up that section of my book in 2 to 3 boxes. Those are very easy to find in circulation for the most part in general, just the 71 to 04 years.
And by the way, guys, now that Rob just answered this question specifically, I do want to we have 221 people watching right now. If you guys haven't been over the Rob and Ravens channel, I'm just going to plug them really fast. You can click their link in the title or in the description and go over and give them that sub love if you guys don't mind. And with that said, let's keep on going. So Donald Halloran says, what do you believe the reason premiums on Maple Leafs and Britannias have not been as inflated as those of Silver Eagles? Demand, straight up.
Demand.
Yeah.
Britannias and Maple Leaves have flooded the market in a big way. It's one of those things where you go to your local coin shop, you're just like, I don't want a Maple, I don't want a Britannia. I want at least a Silver Eagle or some Libertads. And it's not that they're bad coins. It's just there's so many of them in the market.
Absolutely. Do you have anything to add, Rob? Sorry.
And some people would argue that stacking those might be a great addition to diversify your stack. And so if I go to a place and I'm looking to just add to my stack, I don't mean to junk silver, purchase and hunt. I'm talking just add to my stack. I'm going to go there and I'm going to ask about all three. And I'm going to ask what they're charging for each of those. And I'm probably going to take whatever because if they might not even charge as much as some other shops because they're heavy on Maples or heavy on Britannias or heavy on ASEs. And if they're asking to dump some, I'm going to take whatever the best deal is for my stack.
Right. Here we go. Matt Poe says, will there be an R3 stream from the Grove show? That's a good idea.
It's not bad.
It is.
We should do that. Yeah. We'll have to do something. Maybe we'll have like a little panel. That'd be a lot of fun.
Questions from the live audience.
Right.
Turn the camera around.
Yeah, have the camera. If someone's like, I got one. Yes, what's your question? Ridiculous.
We'll have to get no, we seriously, we can get like a wireless mic. We can get this done. Have someone walking around and passing out the mic. That'd be a lot of fun.
That might be kind of cool.
That might be kind of cool. Well, I tell you what, I'll put some brainstorming behind it. Matt Poe, I'm going to be honest with you that I never even thought about that. That's 100% your idea. If it happens, thank you. That's a great idea.
Very good idea.
Let's see. Oh, sorry. That was for someone
sorry,
else.
I'm so dark. The clouds and stuff have rolled in, so I know I keep getting darker in the picture here.
All right, here we go. Do you think war nickels are good to stack right now as they are close to spot?
Not to stack.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, and Seeker has a lot of experience in this as well, but since it's a constitutional coin, if you will, I will say that I love war nickels. I love finding them. If I'm going to stack them and all of my stack is basically, I've never went out and bought war nickels. I always, unless someone's got some BU examples of an LCS and I'm like, I've got to have those. Outside of that, for them, I can find one war nickel in every other nickel box. And if I hunt 100 nickel boxes in the year, I've got more than a roll. So I'd rather pay face value for them for stacking purposes and not go buy them personally.
Yep.
Yeah, I've pretty much 99% of the war nickels I've ever owned have come through the way of coin roll hunting. And but I've been able to get rid of them and make a little profit on them. So,
Yeah.
that's the best way.
Yep.
And Rob was right too. The BU ones, when you find one that has full steps or close to full steps, or it's just gorgeous, you don't ever see them that way. That is definitely a way to collect them.
Right.
Holy smokes! Look at that super chat.
Oh, well, first let's do this one. It's already on the screen, and then I'll get to it. Mark Mastretta says, knock, knock. Who's there? Smash like, dude. Thank you so much for the 5. And, guys, we have a 60 from Stephen Parkhurst. Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the support. I want to address something from James Robinson here that he just posted. He says, not saying something when someone is being completely robbed is just as wrong as doing it yourself. Listen, James, here's the thing. When you're in someone else's business, it's very taboo. It feels very uncomfortable to speak up. Was I biting my tongue? Was I really upset was I upset as I went to my car? Because I didn't do any business there. Was I upset as I went to my car? Yes. Do I wish I would have said something looking back on it, hindsight 2020? Absolutely. Do I feel horrible about it? 100%. But when you're in that situation, it's hard. I'm telling you. Like I keep telling, like I have trouble. Just going, there's people that like to go to coin shops and be like, hey, can I record? I don't even feel comfortable asking them if I can record when I go in. Like I've went in with a camera in my bag before, and then I just never brought it up and left. So it's, things like that. They're quite out of place, and it feels very uncomfortable. And so you can't judge people for, unfortunately having to deal with that. So I just I'm not mad that he said it. I mean, I get it. I wish I would have said something, but I mean, when you're in that situation, it's just tough, man.
Well, and a lot of us are taught at a young age by our parents, right. I'd learned from my mom, not my mom, from my dad. I don't know. I said mom, dad, but my dad specifically that, hey, one, if you find something really, really good, cherry picking their bin, don't rub it in their face. 2, when they're conducting business, don't be nosy about what they're doing and don't put an opinion out there because they will ban you from the shop.
Yeah. Right. Well, I didn't really want to be back at that place anyway.
It's kind of one of those things that's kind of ingrained into you, and it's hard to kind of get over. But I know that if it happened to you again today, you'd definitely speak up. I'd speak up. Rob would speak up.
Oh yeah, if it happened again, I'd do it. I just, it was hard, and I felt horrible that I didn't, and I regret it. And if I were in the situation again, things would probably be different. So, unfortunately, crap happens. Hopefully, because I didn't stay there and watch the whole thing go down. I left before it happened. So hopefully she just told him no. I don't know. We'll see. Well, I guess we won't see, but I don't know. I'm starting to feel really bad about it again. Anyway, let's keep on.
It took courage for you to bring that up and say that, because not people would just shelf that in the back. And I know you brought it up and you don't like yourself for it, but you brought it up so that people would understand that stuff can still happen, and it's a learning experience. And not speaking up then, it eats away at you, but at least everyone in the chat can hear that they would understand that they would not allow that if they were there. But that being said, like Raven said, there's a fine line between criminal and then now you're overstepping your bounds. And you got to be very careful. Just like if I went to my wife's mom's house to eat dinner and I hated it, I wouldn't speak up and say I don't like it, or I'd be dead.
100%. Here we go. I'm going to let you guys, I've been talking more than you, although I am hosting, so it makes sense, but I want you guys to get in here. So this one says, and I'll let you guys answer, it says, why do LCSs seem to have a hard time selling dateless buffalo nickels? A few at the last Oklahoma coin show said, well, I wish you told me before I came here.
Well, dateless buffalo nickels without mint marks on the reverse. Keep that in mind, because if I see a dateless buffalo nickel with no mint mark, I almost don't care to nicodate it. I have rolls of those that I've gotten over the years that I didn't even nicodate. That being said, if I do see a mint mark on the back, I usually go ahead and use nicodate because the chances of decreasing its value is less than increasing its value. Outside of that, dateless buffalo nickels are usually used in jewelry pieces. And so if you have those, you can find them on eBay for cheap. They're selling like $0.25 a piece, or even a lot for a 1 pound bag. You can get damn near a nickel a piece. So I think LCSs don't delve into selling them unless they put them on eBay and sell them to somebody who's making jewelry out of them anyway, personally.
Exactly. Rob hit it nailed all the points on that one for sure.
All right. Awesome. Guys, so I probably missed a lot of questions because I had to skip ahead to the super chats. By the way, thank you for the super chats. Those really helped me in the channel, and we really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Let's see. We'll go with the comment here. CoinCypher says, when I was at my LCS, I got a Zombucks Morgand round.
Yeah.
He was selling it to me. I had to tell him how to spell it. He didn't know how much he didn't know much about it. I got it for 36. They'll love it. That's awesome.
That's a heck of a deal. Honestly, those Zombucks carry a nice premium, and it's amazing. You know, here's the thing. You can't expect every shop that you go into to be an expert on every last piece of silver that's out there, because there's so many these days. I actually had Rich Fontaine tell me about a coin that he was collecting directly from a mint, and I'm like, and he said they're selling for 150 to $200 right now. I'd never heard about it before, you know,
Right.
and I try to keep up on the new releases and everything. So, you know, that's one of the beauties about this hobby is it's very rare that you can find somebody that knows everything. You know, it's just there's so much to know.
And if I recall, the Zombucks, they did copper and silver pieces and limited mintage, if I recall,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe it was 10,000 pieces or something like that. But you had to be enrolled in their program initially, I think, to get a monthly copper and a silver round years ago.
Yeah, I have the entire silver collection, but I don't have the copper collection.
I have the copper and I don't have the entire silver.
You
but
know what?
I also don't roll in $100 bills like Seeker does.
Oh, please.
Seeker's like that South Park.
Yeah.
My money.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Rob, I picked up a couple Zombucks yesterday.
Did you really?
I got the Zombuff, or I can't remember, the Buffalo one, you know.
Yep.
And then I got the Peace Dollar one, and then the
Yep.
one that looks like St. Gaudens.
Yep, I've got all of those in the copper. Just I think I'm missing the Buffalo and the silver, and maybe the St. Gaudens.
You know what's the prize of that collection? I have the Morgan, the 1 ounce silver Morgan that says 1 ounce copper.
Yep, those ones are worth a lot.
Oh yeah, I don't have
are.
that. They used the wrong reverse, correct?
Yep, they used the wrong reverse. I had 2 of them, and I ended up selling one to one of my mods, Silver Jekyll. So he has the other one of my 2.
That'd be cool if you had That'd be cool if you could find a copper one with the silver reverse, though.
That would be cool. I don't even have the copper set.
Yeah.
But I will. That one, I do have the other one in my collection. I love that thing. That one's not going anywhere. Let's see. I know I missed something. Let me scroll back up where we were.
Yeah, that's just going to keep going up in value, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Edward Lee had one about the 10% Mexican pesos. I mean, I don't keep them. I have seen them for a few bucks, and it is fun to get some old Mexican silver that has 10% silver in it, or some old Mexican coins. But stacking purposes, no. I mean, if I see them at a good deal, I'll buy them, and then maybe I'll use them as giveaways or something. But I typically don't stack those.
It's funny people are asking about those and about war nickels tonight. I have a video coming out tomorrow that was already done by a couple other channels. I was late to the game. I've just been so busy this last week. About, you know, there's been a lot of excitement around people just stacking nickels because nickel and copper is up so much. I did a video covering that tomorrow. I'm not a fan, and I will say that in the video, but you guys should watch that. But to go to the point, though, anything that like is that low percentage of silver, for example, war nickel's 35, which means 65% of your weight is not even silver, and with those, 90% of your weight is not even silver. It doesn't make like a lot of sense because it's just going to take up so much room and be so much weight when silver's already so heavy as is. You know, to stack something like that. So that's why 90%, I love 90%, but you know, anything outside of a few things, anything under like 90, maybe 80% Canadian is fine, but anything really under that, it just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. Just too much space, too much weight. Go ahead. Sorry.
Unless it's a means to trade up. Like, for example, if melt on that Mexican 10% peso is $1.46, and you can get it at $1.50 and only pay 4 cents premium on it, and buy a whole bunch of them, and then trade it up to something that you could stack with, and not be eating a premium on something fractional, then it might be worth it. Again, that would, if I bought it, if I saw a good deal at melt or near melt or even under melt, I'm going to buy it, and then I'm going to trade it in upwards to something that's stackable.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, and when it
Go
comes to
ahead.
Mexican silver with me, I stay 72% and higher because those are the years that are a little bit more, collectible on top of it, besides having the silver in it. So that's kind of my rule of thumb when it comes to Mexican silver is 72% and higher.
Can you guys at least hear me? Yeah, you should still be able to hear me. I hit the wrong button on my Stream Deck and it's going nuts. It's trying to switch between scenes. So I'm going to put up this next question for you and Rob, Raven, and let me fix this.
Go ahead, Raven.
Let me look at it real quick. I'm sorry, I was on a different stream here. I recirculated my $20 bill at serial number 1435 because it's in terrible shape. Was I stupid? No, you weren't necessarily, because if it's in terrible shape, you're not going to get that much more money for it than its face value. You know, it's still worth more than its face value because it's such a low serial number, but it's not like it was a crisp $20 bill with 1435. You know, that's the big difference. Currency is a very interesting market.
Yeah, it's a condition is everything in coins and currency. Keep this in mind. On a $20 bill with the fancy serial number, your multiple of what you're going to get is a lot less than a $1 bill, because on a $1 bill, well, first of all, a low serial number technically is under 1,000, and that's 1,400. Yeah. So you get a lot more under 1,000, and you get a hell of a lot more under 100. But at 1435, your $20 bill is probably worth $24 to $25 in terrible shape. So, like Raven said, were you stupid to spend it? No. Could you have gotten maybe $25 for it and made a few bucks? Yeah. You weren't. If it was in great shape, you would probably got $30, $40 for it easy. But it wasn't in great shape. So.
Right. I don't know much about Hobo nickels. How about you guys?
Only if they're real.
Matt Poe says, how much premium is there for Hobo nickels and Hobo coins?
If it's a real Hobo nickel, especially one of those older ones, you know, from the original days when they were doing it back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, you're talking thousands of dollars for some of them, you know. But modern Hobo nickels, you know, if it's a really nice one and it's got a great subject, you know, you're looking at probably $40, $50 sometimes. Some of them are as high as $100. But it's those older ones, like Rob even said, you know, before I started talking, it's literally those are the ones that you would want to keep your eye out for. And you can do some research. I forget there's one guy that his name, and Rob probably knows it, that his nickels command a lot of money if you find one you're really lucky.
Yeah, right. There's modern artists that command a lot because they're done well. But keep in mind, they can put the coin under a scope and determine if it was done by the artist who actually started those Hobo nickels. And if you have one of those, yes, Raven's right. They fetch a ton.
Fair enough. This is a good question. Eddie says, does uncirculated mean it came directly from the mint, please? Or that it was just put in circulation but never used to purchase anything? So I'm sure Rob will have something to say with this as well, but uncirculated doesn't necessarily mean it's never been circulated, unfortunately. It just means that it doesn't show any signs of wear from circulation. So it is very possible to have an uncirculated coin that actually has been used for purchases more than once.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could still find, you know, definitely high mint state coins in circulation that have maybe been circulated a couple of times, but they show no wear, full mint luster, and if you put it in front of a grater, it would still get an MS-65, and you found it in a box. So, right. I mean, heck, I've sent pennies in that have got an MS-67, and that's better than most BU examples. Yeah. So Seeker's absolutely right. Uncirculated doesn't mean you have to prove that it's never been circulated. It just has to be able to score high enough based on wear and luster to be considered in that uncirculated category.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great question from Edie. No, you guys hit all the points. You know, I've found plenty of coins in boxes, and that's one of the reasons we do this, that are literally brand new, you know, uncirculated, yet they're an older coin. And more than likely what had happened is somebody turned in Grandpa's coin collection, and you were just the lucky one to find it before it got beat up.
Exactly. Ike's Girl says, have you talked about the volatility of the market and where do you think it's going? I know I used to try and predict what silver was going to do. I no longer do that. I specifically said in a video literally just last week that I will predict what silver is going to do tomorrow. It can go up or it might go down. Truth is, nobody knows. Even the experts that give the educated guesses on websites like Kitco and places like that, they don't actually know. They do make educated guesses. They've been in the industry for a long time, so they can kind of predict what they think may happen based on trends. But at the end of the day, they truly don't know, and they're wrong all the time. If they were right all the time, they wouldn't be talking to you. They'd be driving their Bentleys around their private islands. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a reason they're writing those articles and not kicked back on a beach.
Yeah.
So... do you guys want to add?
Well, and some of those guys do it, the speculation of super high out of the ballpark stuff just because it's a form of clickbait. It gets people talking. It gets people interested in debating whether or not that person is going to hit the mark or not. Everything comes in cycles. You just kind of pay attention. You try to buy on the lows and sell on the highs if that's how you want to do it. There's a lot of people that just hold on to their stuff long term because it is a long-term investment. Yep.
And then another thing I'll add to that is consider this. If you're listening to a guy who has $10 million of silver stacked away wherever the heck he has, or gold, and then he gets in front of the camera, or he gets in front of an article on a big website about gold and silver and says, hey, gold's going to skyrocket. You know what he wants is he wants you to buy it so it does skyrocket so that he can turn the profit on what he has. And so that's very biased reporting, if you will. And that's why, because I obviously I'm very vested in gold and silver. And so obviously I wanted to go up, but I don't want it to go up to the point that I do it by telling you, hey, I know what it's going to do tomorrow. Gold's going to hit $2,500 next week. You should go buy now. And then I watch it go up and then I sell. I just can't live like that. That's not how I work.
Yeah.
Let's see. This one's straight to you, Rob.
I was watching another YouTube channel, Pawnbroker Pickers, and your dad walked into the shop, was talking about coins and stuff. My dad walked into the shop. That'd be pretty tough to do. He lives in the Philippines, but I think maybe he looked like me. And if he was talking about coins, that's pretty cool. You'll have to shoot me an email and let me know. I've never seen that channel, to be honest.
That's awesome. My dad lives in the Philippines.
Oh, man, that's good. I like it. Let's see. I trade all my 40% silver for 2 vintage Engelhard bars. Hey, you know what? That's good, though, because like Rob said earlier, if you're stacking it to trade up, that's well done. I mean, granted, I don't know how much 40% you gave. But still, I mean, that's the idea.
But well, look at it like this, Speaker. 500, I think I average about 540%ers a year in my box hunts is what I end up finding, somewhere around that number. And if you had 540%ers at today's melt, and all I could get was melt for them at best, I could buy a pretty good amount of silver that I paid face value for.
Yeah, fair enough. That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, I had to hunt all the boxes, had to order them, had to bring them home, had to re-roll them or bag them or whatever I had to do, put them back at the bank. It's a lot of work, but it's still a nice come up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can't go wrong with vintage Engelhard bars. I mean, you can't.
It's my number one stacking 10-ounce bar. I know there's a premium on them, but if I see a 10-ounce Engelhard bar, machine poured or machined, I'm buying it if I see it. That's just, right. If I can, I'm like, please hold it for a day. I'll be back tomorrow.
Yep.
One of the shops that I venture into once in a while has a Johnson Matthey 75+ pound bar worth over 28 grand sitting in their case.
It was a 1,000-ounce bar.
I forget the exact ounces too. I think it was like more like 1,200 ounces or something. I mean, it's like a weird number where it ends up being, 75 or 78. I think he said. I even got to curl it, and the thing is huge. I mean, it's about this long and about yay tall, But they're actually told me the other day that they're going to be making some of their own bars and they're considering melting that to make their own bars. And I was like, that's a travesty.
Well, if you think about it, if you remember that episode of Pawn Stars where Rick bought like those 1,000 ounces of silver, including those big bars, and then they melted them and turned them into old man rounds, and they sold them for like $50 a piece. They made a killing.
They did make a killing back then, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was insane.
But when you see it and you're like, man, if I had $28,000 extra dollars sitting in my pocket,
Right.
You know, but it's just kind of cool to see those things.
For sure.
Oh, wow.
Here we go. Nathan Dobbins says, I have a 42/41 Merc. Nice. It was my grandpa's. I myself deemed it to be worn as jewelry, and my LCS confirmed. I have my thoughts. What are your thoughts on the value at EF40? EF40, but cleaned. I do not have a gray sheet in front of me.
Well,
Rob, do you know off the top of your head there?
No, but if it got EF details, even if it's cleaned, I would still say it's in that $200 to $300 minimum value on it, because I know that I don't want to say I know. If I recall, even in a fine, as in a not clean gray, just in fine, it's a couple of $100, and getting an EF is a nice, at least details. I think even if it's cleaned, having it have great details and how scarce those are, no one's really going to mind the cleaning, because a lot of coins were clean then. If it has good details and looks good, I don't think you'd have a problem getting probably $300+ on it for sure.
Yeah.
So the gray sheet value on that at XF is it a D or a P? He said P, but I don't know if he meant to. Anyway.
Yeah, because one's better than the other as far as the way that it looks under the scope.
Right. Assuming it's a P, the 42/41 P at XF is $550. At VF is $400. At Fine is $350. So I'd put it probably around $400. I mean,
yeah,
if it does,
I was guesstimating, and I was trying to take a little bit of money off for it being cleaned.
Right. Well, I definitely did. Otherwise, it'd be $550.
Yeah.
But usually with coins that have been cleaned, as long as it's not super harsh and it makes the coin just look disgusting, if it was just like a quick polish on it just to clean it up and it doesn't look really bad, usually I like to value those at the grade below what it is. So if it's a VF or an XF, then I would grade it, or I would value it at a VF, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
which, by the way, $550 at XF, $400 at VF, $350 at Fine. I mean, right there between $350 and $4 is probably pretty accurate.
And honestly, you wouldn't even need to get it graded, because if you just put it in a nice airtight, it's a no doubter. Anyone who looks at it, it's a no doubter. All that you would get by getting it slabbed is the extra cost and potentially the cleaned designation. Right.
I do see a super chat, and I will get to it in a second, but really quick, I didn't want to miss this one. Richard Mazu Kurwitz. Richard says, I have a 1965 Kennedy half that I was told is a mistake. So a transitional error, 90% silver. Ooh.
I've never heard of that. That'd be pretty darn cool, though.
Yeah. Is there any known transitional errors for 65?
For $half 65? No. For silver quarters, yes. There is transitional errors 71 and 77 for 40% planchets. And 77 makes sense because they did the bicentennials in 76 and 75, so they probably had a leftover planchet as well. But I have not heard of a 65 Kennedy in 90%, because they were really strict about pulling all of the excess 90% out, because that's when they transitioned to stop making 90% silver. So is it possible? Of course, transition errors do occur. If you have one, I would get it authenticated before I started counting my money, though, first.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Guys, hey, I do want to say something. Now I'll read the super chat. I do apologize if I have missed channel member shoutouts. Robin Raven can attest to this. For some reason on the StreamYard chat, those don't show. And so I'm not actually looking at the live YouTube chat. I'm looking at the StreamYard chat, because that's what I click to make everything pop up like this. So I do apologize. I do see a couple of them out of the corner of my eye. I saw one pop up. So thank you so much to Gilbert Rogers. He says, go good, 11 months as a Seeker fan. And then Manny C, 7 months as a Seeker fan, says, thanks for all the great content, gentlemen. So thank you for those. And if I missed any of the others, I am so sorry. I will ask you, don't use them on this, because I'll probably miss them. Use them on a regular stream so that I make sure I see it 100%. I'm very, very sorry. I don't know why they don't pop up on StreamYard.
And really quick, Morgan McLean, did I, when you sent me the email, the 42/41 that you got from a AppMix roll or whatever, did I tell you that it was going to be XF45? But either way, he got it graded. It was XF45, which is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Coins making sense with the 20, says Silver Seeker, Raven, and Rob. Good to see you all this evening. Excellent discussion as always. Guys, give it up the coins at Making Sense. Thank you so much for that super chat shout out. Let's go.
And he will be with us, right, at the Grove Show once again?
Yep, he will.
Check him out.
He was there with us last year. Check him out, guys.
He's a good guy. He's a good
He is.
guy.
I feel bad because I did an interview with him and I lost the footage.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm making it up this year. I'm going to have a nice big interview with Coins Making Sense at the Grove Show this year. I'm so sorry. Freedom Will Ring says, I hope silver stays low because I'm still stacking. If silver went to 1,000, I'd be a millionaire, but then $1 million wouldn't be worth anything. So what's the point? Be careful what you wish for. Freedom, I preach this all the time in my videos. I don't want to live in a world that makes $1,000 silver, because that means the value of our dollar is not worth anything almost. I mean, it's still worth something, but it won't be worth very much. And I don't want to live in that world because there'd be a lot of hurting people, and I'd rather not there be hurting people just for me to say I'm a millionaire. So I'm with you.
Thing. If it went to 1,000 and everyone started cashing in, guess what would happen to the price?
But the thing is, I agree, but I think the thing is, if it went to 1,000, especially if it did it really quick, like through hyperinflation, no one would want to cash in.
No, I agree.
I wouldn't. If silver got to $1,000, I wouldn't sell a single ounce. I would trade it for things I need, but I wouldn't sell it. Let's see. Oh, and Nathan did say, I'm sorry if I didn't clarify it's a P. Fair enough. Let's see. Des Logic says, am I better to start collecting weight rather than premium as silver starts to rise, generic constitutionals, etc.? I've been talking a lot, but I'll do a quick touch on this one, and then I'll let Rob and Raven also join in on this one. When I stack premium, I'm looking for low premium stuff like maples and Brits. I've been staying away from Eagles for obvious reasons. Now, when you say stacking, if you're talking about like the semi-Numi stuff that I really, really love to get, like you guys just saw, I did the unboxing on the Assassin's Creeds and things like that. Nothing wrong with it. Just don't go all in on it. Just buy one for your collection. Consider that the collecting side of your stack, and then stack weight on the main side of your stack. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I tried to. I'm sorry. I should have just let you answer it.
No. I think you hit everything. So there's really all I can do is just regurgitate that. And since we're not baby birds, we don't need that.
Fair enough. I see a super chat. I will get that after this one. Thoughts on the Postmaster silver rounds issued in the 70s and 80s? They are 27 grams of 925 sterling, so about 24 grams of sterling. They come up pretty cheap in stamp collector lots on eBay. I don't know. What do you guys think about those?
I've kind of steered clear of them during my collecting times, but if they start going up in value, they're sterling silver. They still have a good amount of silver in them to be able to put to the side and be worth at least the value of silver.
Mm-hmm. I actually have some of them in the actual first day issue packaging and all that, so they're cool, but it's the same thing as other stuff. Not something I'd stack. Cool to collect if you like things like that, but not something to stack.
And as I said, if you can get them pretty cheap on eBay, and you can buy them and then trade them up into some, because you can take those to a lot of places and they'll just take them to the refiner if they don't want to collect them, and they'll get what they get. So they'll at least offer you refining fees for them.
Yep.
And you can still trade up for them, then do it, but only if you can trade up for them. Otherwise, you're stacking stuff that you don't need to.
Yep. So $10 super chat, Armstrong Numismatics and Firearms. Thank you so much for the support. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it so much. Says, I recently found a close to mint $20 with serial number. I'm going to let you guys have this because I'm not a paper guy. That's a
Go
start.
ahead, Rob. I got the last one. You can tackle this one.
I mean, first of all, any star note is always going to be good because there's people out there that go bonkers for them. Keeping in mind that if it was just a regular, non-rare star note, and I don't know the year, I don't know the print run or the rarity as far as the index on it, but assuming it's a common $20 star note, it would still be about $22 to $24 for being a star. People will pay that. Now you have a lower number. It's also a binary. It's got lots of zeros. People like seeing that. So I think it's a gooder. Using your terminology, it's probably a $35 star note if it's in decent shape, and it probably is a $50 star note if it's crisp uncirculated. And again, I don't pay up for $20, $50, $100 star notes. I don't even hardly stack them at all or keep them because I can't afford to just hold on to that kind of pocket money. I focus mainly on the 1s and 5s because those are easy to move, and I don't take a big bleed when I'm sitting there holding on to the money until I sell them. But that being said, there's people that collect them, and if it's in really nice shape, you've got at least probably 2 times face value for it.
There you go.
And if I can take a $20 out of an ATM and turn it into $40 overnight, that's gooder.
Yes, sir.
Fair enough.
Bestest.
All right. Levi says, do you see the premiums coming down anytime in the future, or is this the new normal for stacking? I don't want to call it the new normal, but I was actually having a discussion with someone that a lot of us know, Afoot for Silver, the other day. And he was talking, he literally sent me a picture of how much he had to pay he's a trucker. And he literally sent me a photo of how much he had to pay per gallon for gasoline. And he was just kind of breaking down some math for me. He goes, at this price, just transporting like a regular size, just the cost to transport a regular size bag of Doritos is like 65 cents. And I'm like, that is insane. And he goes, if you look at it that way, while the premiums on silver are high, that makes them seem pretty tame, doesn't it? I'm like, yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to call it the new normal. I would like for it to return, but it's not going to be anytime soon. The problem is once the market adjusts to something like what we've been experiencing since the beginning of the silver squeeze, it wasn't even really the beginning of the pandemic. It was 2021, February, that this really started. Although now it's been severely affected by what's going on, in the world. But, when people get used to this, it's kind of like gas prices, right? So if oil spikes, and you guys just saw this, if oil spikes, gas instantly goes up. Like it's like almost the next morning, right? But, oil dropped a lot in the last day, I believe. It's going to be probably 3, 4, 5 days before you see it start to come down. Even though it goes up immediately, it takes a while to come down. And that's because people get used to this new norm and they don't want to let go of the premiums. The businesses don't want to let go of the premiums. The wholesalers don't want to let go of the premiums. And so when it gets down to like the local level, like the shops, I mean, I follow a lot of wholesalers. I just watched Atmex. They used to wholesale their 9 fine mint 10-ounce bars for $1.90 and their 9 fine mint 5-ounce bars for $2.20 over spot. That was cheaper than they were selling them live just on their main website. They now have those at $5 over spot at wholesale. And another company is Upstate. They used to sell, this was before the war started, they were selling 1-ounce rounds at $1.90 over spot at wholesale. Keep in mind, that's still a lot for wholesale because the dealers then have to sell them and make a profit themselves. Now they're $3.25 and they're back ordered for 4 weeks. So the demand is definitely there to keep the premiums where it is. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to see it come down at least for the first half of this year. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not anywhere near what we would consider the old normal.
Well, in the way that you're talking about what the oil companies do, that's why they're making record high profits every year after year after year, is because they just squeeze and squeeze as much as they can out of the consumer.
Right.
It's pretty sad. And I had that talk. I was talking to Afoot, and he said that his gas bill went up literally 40-something% for 1 year to 1 year, which, that's insane, man.
It is. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead. Yeah,
Jay Rossi asked, do you only answer questions when I donate? Of course not. The majority of people that have asked questions tonight did not donate a dime. So that is not the case at all. I do know that I had a super chat from Armstrong. He said, Common 2013. I think
that was the answer to the serial number bill that we were talking about because I didn't know the year and if it was common or not.
Gotcha. Thank you for the extra 5, by the way. That is awesome.
And Seeker, do you also ignore super chats with it? No, I'm just kidding.
I do my best to
I know you're trying, brother.
I do not ignore super chats. We always answer them as long as it's, within reason. Obviously if someone does some silly, I'm going to burg in a $5 super chat just to get your attention, then we're not going to read that one. But yes, we will read them all unless, something like that happens. Let's see. Okay. So you answered some of my previous questions. So say 10-ounce bars would be better than say 10 1-ounce rounds or 1-ounce bars when it comes to weight. One 10-ounce bar is going to be cheaper to buy, but you're not going to get as much when you sell it. There's definitely a higher demand for 1-ounce bars. That's a flat out easy answer.
Yep.
If you guys want to add to it.
Nope.
Okay.
I just like heavy silver sometimes, and I don't like it heavier than 10 ounces, but I also like to have some 10-ounce bars. Now, when it comes to stacking, 1 ounce for me is my norm unless it's constitutional.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Leon says, Silver Seeker, what do you think about silver notes? Like silver certificates? They're cool, but I don't know. What do you guys I'm not as much of a paper monies person as these two, so I leave it all to them.
Well, I've always been a huge fan of silver certificates and old currency, especially when you get into real old currency, with the educational notes and the American bison and the Indian chief. I mean, some of those, the artwork and filigree on that is just bar none beautiful, and you don't see that anymore. It's unfortunate. It'd be nice to see him bring back some kind of throwback note where you got to see the beautiful artwork that they put in there, because I'm telling you, you look at one of those educational notes and just all the meaning to what's going on in the art itself. There's hidden messages in there as well. So I've always been a big fan of stacking currency, and did for a long time a Let's Talk Currency series on the channel.
Right. This one I don't see over here, but I happen to see my name pop up in yellow. Matt Poe asks why I hate paper. I don't. It's just not my specialty. It's not. These guys know way more about paper than I do. So whenever a question comes up about paper, I usually just leave it to them.
I'll tell you that
I don't hate it.
The scary thing about paper, though, is it can burn away. Silver, your house can burn down. You still got your silver. You still got your gold. Most of your paper is going to be pretty much done with.
Right.
Yeah, and keep in mind, silver certificates that are heavily circulated and beat up, they're only worth $2-3 tops, probably $2. It's when they're fancy or a special year, or they have a nice serial number, or they're in perfectly crisp condition, and then they're worth a lot more.
Yeah.
James,
I don't have any beat up silver certificates in my collection.
Gotcha. James D, we actually touched on that at the beginning, and it is true. But that was the first thing that we covered. If you want to rewind, you are welcome to watch that. I do want to put this one on the screen. But Silver Seeker spends old currency at the drive-thru. Hey, that was a fun video to record. I need to do another one. That was a fun video. Let's see.
Did you guys ever hear about those stories where somebody tries to spend a $2 bill at Walmart and the cashiers freak out and call the cops and stuff?
Yep.
Yes.
That stuff's awesome.
That happened. I'll tell you, if you guys want to hear another story, I know I already told one today, but this one didn't involve me being around it or anything.
Hey, you got a new member, though, first.
Whoa! Kyle Harden becomes a gold seeker. Holy smokes. Thank you so much for the support. That is awesome. I'll tell you this story. We are getting close to the end, by the way, and it looks like Rob's starting to get he's reading the chat more than he's listening. I'm just playing. That's what Rob's doing. He's watching and typing in the chat, just so you guys know. He's not ignoring you.
I'm trying to answer questions so that you don't get hammered by him, Seeker.
I know. I'm just making fun of you. So this was years ago at Busch Stadium. So I'm not much. I don't really watch MLB anymore like I used to. I've kind of fallen out of favor with it, with everything going on. But anyway, besides that, at Busch Stadium a few years back, this father, and I wasn't there. This was a story that I was told, and it was in the paper, so it had to. Maybe it was real. I don't know. Papers may not be real. But anyway, to the story, before I get too off base, he sent his kids to the snack bar to get snacks with $2 bills that he had. And the kids did not return in a timely manner. And he started to get concerned. So he went and found what was going on. They were being detained by the security at Busch Stadium for using counterfeit currency. The security of the stadium had already called the St. Louis Police Department, who reported, or who, came on scene and looked at the $2 bills and then placed the father under arrest for using fake currency at Busch Stadium. There is a Federal Reserve in St. Louis. They had someone from the Federal Reserve have to tell the officer, the manager of the manager at the stadium, and the cashier that you guys, he didn't say it obviously, but he basically had to tell them, you guys are idiots. These are real. And from what I understand, the father and the kids fortunately got seasons passes for the rest of the season as an apology from the Cardinals. So at least that was cool. But true story.
Wow.
Where were we at? Oh, Metal Dragon Braveheart. Guys, we're going to get a couple more. We only like to do this for an hour. We'll go a couple minutes over just saying our goodbyes and stuff. But I do want to get this one, and we'll grab one or two more, and then we will cut it off here. But we will be live, in 2 weeks on Rob? Is that right?
Oh, yeah, it is. I am next.
Yep. So in 2 weeks, we will be doing this again on Rob Finds Treasures channel. So guys, I hope, like I said earlier, if you haven't been over to Rob, if you haven't been over to Raven, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future ones. We try and do them every 2 weeks. This is the R3Cast, which stands for Seeker with the R, Rob and Raven. And we love doing these. We love getting together with you guys. Metal Dragon Braveheart, this was just a comment. He says, hard to cut a 10-ounce bar when you're using it to buy a loaf of bread after Russia. China and India are all in the same backing system. Yep. It is hard to cut a 10-ounce bar. That is accurate. Let's see. I think, Kyle, so new members do pop up, but the channel membership shout outs do not for some reason. I don't know. That's weird. What are your thoughts on collecting Morgans? I love collecting Morgans. So does Robin Raven. That's a pretty good one.
I think the vast majority of silver stackers and numismatic people all enjoy collecting Morgans.
Absolutely.
They're known as the doctor and lawyer coin, if to give you an idea.
Yeah.
Because they're the high end stuff, but man, there's nothing like a beautiful, silver Morgan that's BU or AU in your hands, and some of the ones that I've managed to get recently that are super monster toned, that are naturally toned, and it's just, if they could talk, if they could tell you the history that they've gone through to get that far, and still be around, would be amazing to hear.
Absolutely. So we're going to cut it off with that one, guys. I do want to say that someone's asking how to get to Robin Raven's channel. Not only in the title of the video, but also in the description, you can click I hope I fixed the title one, because when you set it up on the StreamYard, it doesn't. But either way, you can click their names at least in the description for sure. Like it says at Rob Finds Treasure and at Ravenhawk Coins. Just click that name and it'll take you to their channel. Make sure you give them that sub love and don't miss the next one. And with that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and do a wrap up. And like I said, I do apologize if we missed your questions. Feel free to ask them in 2 weeks over at Rob's channel. Raven, take us out of here, man, before we get to Rob.
Hey, guys, this was fun like it always is. The audience, a lot of great questions tonight. Just an awesome, awesome night. This always goes way too fast, in my opinion. Really, really excited about Grove and getting to meet a lot of people that I normally wouldn't have been able to see, in person before. And now that we're probably going to do a podcast there, that's even something cooler.
That would be cool. I think so. What about you, Rob?
You know what? I actually think this was one of the best chats we've had as far as audience question participation. A lot of times we had stopped doing these, several months ago, only because it felt like we had answered a lot of the same questions and everyone didn't have to ask that many questions. And now it seems like there was a lot of audience participation. These chats are a lot more fun for us and for you, and a lot more educational for everyone, I would imagine, because not only if we have participation asking questions, we have members in the chat also helping on answer and give their 2 cents as well. So I really enjoyed this one, like I always do, but it just felt like there was a lot more participation on Q&As this time than normal. So absolutely, I agree. It was a great one, and I want to say thank you again, guys, for supporting the streams through super chats that you guys did tonight. That really is appreciated. So thank each and every one of you. I don't remember every one of you that did, but I did shout you all out, and I want to say thank you one more time for all of that support. And with all of that said, like I said, guys, we will see you in 2 weeks live on Rob's channel. But before then, you'll see all three of us doing all sorts of videos and other live streams as well. So I hope to see you on those as well. Guys, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper.